Okay, guys, this is going to be my review of the film The Devil All the Time. It's a Netflix original, so going into this film, I don't know how good it's gonna be. I mean, it's a Netflix original. I was excited for Project Power. That didn't turn out great. But then, of course, they made, Irishman, and they made The Old Guard, which I like. But for every one Old Guard, for every one Irishman, there's like 20, bad films. And so I was nervous about this film. And this film was okay, it wasn't I don't think it's anything special. I mean, I think the thing about this film is it jumps a lot, or jumps around a lot. You know what I mean? Where you have this idea of like this town, kind of with these people going insane and crazy, killing people, and I mean like literally the majority of the cast, besides Tom Holland, ends up dying. Like when you look at the cast, I can be like dead, dies, and I could literally be like this person kills this person, and this person kills this person, and person kills this person, and this person kills that person, and that person kills that person kills that, and that is an accidental death. And you know what I mean? Like you can honestly map out a chart where interlinking, where they're all connected, and it's like a weird film where they're connected by them killing each other. It's an interesting thing, and kind of exploring this small town, and they're what they believe in, and you know trying to do different things for their god, and what I mean. And so it's a very interesting film. I mean, there's some interesting points, some interesting philosophies, but I mean, I found it weird a lot of times. Sure, I mean, I found it strange at times. I mean, the performances by Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson were great. I mean, cause when I think of Devil All the Time, I'll go back to that scene in the church, where Robert Pattinson's talking, and Tom Holland basically basically describes what Robert Pattinson was doing, and he shoots Robert Pattinson. I'm like, oh my god, that's such a thrilling scene, acting wise and dialogue wise, and the ultimate outcome of it, and the execution of it. But I think there is a lot of weird stuff and unnecessary stuff because, like I said, it jumped around a lot. And if you describe me what's the story or what's the plot of this film, that would be a struggle. You know what I mean? With a film like this, the struggle. The struggle comes in the fact that, like I said, this film jumps around a lot. So there's different scenes at different moments where one character and their relationship with another, and then this person gets killed by this person, and you know what the thing is? There's different phases. You know what I mean? Where every character, and even Tom Holland, every character is a supporting role. Even Tom Holland, every character was a supporting role because Tom Holland didn't come into the film after the first act, and and because when you think about it, Tom Holland's father didn't, was only there for the first 45 minutes. Then you got like my point is the preacher Robert Pattinson was only in there for like this the second act, and Sebastian Stan's character popped in throughout, and different characters were thrown in and different characters thrown out, and some characters were only like one scene in the first act, a few scenes in the second act, a few scenes in the third act. But I mean, there were interesting characters, and by the way, the cast is really good. And I think if there's one thing that I think Netflix is good at, beyond I think making good shows, because I mean I love Daredevil, and I hear so much good stuff about all these other shows that they make. So and I think they make great shows too. So, but the one thing I'll say with their Netflix original films is, despite that they usually turn out pretty bad, they're able to get great casts. I just heard today about this new Netflix original movie that is being made with with Chris Hemsworth and the Deadpool writers, and what I mean, and Top Gun director, and it's what I mean. They've been able to get talent, yet despite it not necessarily turning out well, because they're able to get Rob Pattinson, Tom Holland, and all these, and Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt to do films, and Charlize Theron, and doing all these Netflix original films, and even I think the Irishman's a different case study, because this was not there were Because the thing is with the Irishman case study, it's kind of like uh, Martin Scorsese always had this idea in mind. It was more Netflix just simply produced it, and that was really the biggest extent of their control. Versus all these films, they produce it, and then they get like the actors on board. This was, always a passion project for Martin and or Robert De Niro and all that stuff. But other than that, they've really been able to get this talent for Netflix original films, despite a lot of them not really doing that good. And so maybe it's because they pay them good, maybe because they're just interested in the ideas. Because I do believe a lot of concepts that they go for is good. And is this a bad film? No. Is it a good film? Maybe. And I was on the edge of my seat a lot of scenes, but I just think it's jumped a lot of places. It jumped around because every character had their own story. You know what I mean? This felt like a book series where every series is a different murder almost. And I think honestly, the book Wonder has nothing to do with this film, but I'll make the analogy to Wonder, where in Wonder, it's not told by one character's perspective. Every chapter in Wonder is told by a different person's perspective. And I kind of felt like that with this film, where yes, there's the narrator, which throughout the film, but it felt like, in some capacity, every couple of minutes, every half hour, it seemed like it changed the focus because it seemed like they changed what character we're following. You know what I mean? Because at first we're following, the dad, but then we're following, the mom, and then we're following the preacher, and then we're following his wife that he kills, and they're going around following different characters, and and that's the problem. I think becomes what's the bottom line? Where do they? What's the significance? You know what I mean? Because yes, they're all mutual friends and family. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, if we wanted to look at from the Tom Holland's perspective, we're like, Tom Holland's father is married to this girl whose grandmother's friendly with the preacher, whose wife is this, who and Tom Holland's father is friends with an old lawyer buddy who goes around killing people and for fun, and you know what I mean, but then that person who kills for fun's wife is the brother of a cop who's investigating them, and then there's a new preacher who's dating Tom Holland's stepsister, and and it kind of, because they all know each other, it really does jam home this idea that this town's such a small town, and you buy that because all the characters, they all know each other. They all have a relationship with each other because it's a small town. But I was interested, but again, what's so hard is it felt like this film was jumping around so much. Because what's the significance of stuff? Because I really do question some stuff in the beginning. What's the significance to the ultimate ending? And what it's, and I think it's interesting because I think the thing is, it's following. You know what I think it is? It's following Tom Holland's character, but the first act was all set up for what Tom Holland's character goes through. So they need to set up all these characters in the first act, right? And so that they can ultimately get to his father's death, right? But then they need to do some more setup for these different characters and set up why these two characters go out and kill in a lake. And so it felt like there was all, where it wasn't like they jumped around, it's more that they had so much to set up in order to just show one character's story, one character's journey. Because I think the third act felt cohesive. The third act felt like that build up, that payoff to that build up, you know what I mean? Because it felt like they were building up for Tom Holland's character, that yes, he was there for the second act, but that was still that setup for his transformative sense in that third act. The last 45 minutes from when, like, literally after his stepsister dies. That's when it becomes more focused because now it's focusing in on that character. And it felt like everything else was setting up this act, which is not necessarily what you want. A film that its acts just set up the third act. Its first two acts just set up the third act. So, I enjoyed the film, but it definitely had its, I guess pacing problems, but also overall vision problems. The vision of what this film was trying to be. Stay tuned for videos coming at you.